So I guess we'll just begin. So call the meeting to order at 6:32. So far we have Nadia. Oh, he's texting back. Hold on. Hopefully he did not go to the... Okay, he's stuck in a work call, so he'll be joining shortly. All right, so we have Nadia, we have Colin, me, and our honorary member, Steve Sherlock. All right, so for this week, I'm just pulling up the agenda. We have a few different items on today's agenda. If I can find that, bear with me. He'll be joining us late. Can't get out of a work call. But the agenda today, we'll talk about the website usage metrics. We'll talk about the quarterly community engagement update. We may push this later into the conversation, given Stephen's leading a lot of this effort. We'll talk about the senior center visit, and also the monthly Q&A session. A little bit of Strawberry Stroll planning, and then as our typical standing agenda item, newsletter planning. So with that being said, Colin, do you want to take it away and talk about the website usage metrics?
Yeah, sure. So I finally got the proper access level that I needed to get this information. I will share my screen, which will show a graph on the Google Analytics. I have a few sets of information to show, or to tell. Get this share. Okay. So the Google Analytics is, you can see my screen, right?
Yep. Okay,
perfect. The Google Analytics is really interesting in what you can see and how this works. It is fairly complex, so I think as we use it more and more, we'll be able to get more and more data from it. There's a section right here. It's called Pages and Screens, and it's under the View User Engagement and Retention. And essentially, this just tracks web traffic and views over time. So this chart or this graph that we're looking at specifically is just the school committee website on the district Franklin PS site, starting from February 16th all the way to today. So you can see the graph over time, number of users. There's a spike here, obviously 34 views on the 24th. You can see trends over time with it. This we can look at just about any website within Franklin PS, as far as how it's coded in our Thrill Share program. So if it's actually like a website, not an upload, you can track it through this analytical system. There's a lot more capabilities that this can provide for us, but as just getting into it, this is, I think, the starter information we can look at right now for over time. Any questions about this part of it?
So far, so good. Nadia, anything from yourself?
Not really. I'm just curious to see what the spikes are.
That's probably the next step on how we can use this, is to try to better understand why there is. So I don't know how well you can see, there's a note up here that says there was an anomaly. This anomaly was this is on February 23rd. There was an anomaly, was primarily driven by a significant week-over-week surge in key segments. Views from the United States rose from 139 to 1,200. That's talking about the district page in its whole, not just the school committee page, but it can potentially link, if there was a new post or a new upload, or like, we may be able to draw some information from just the views and why there was a spike. The other interesting thing about this too is it will tell you where your views are from, and let's see if I can go back to the main part of this. So like this is looking at a couple different pages. It's looking at all users through Franklin PS, and then the orange line looks like it's just from the United States, but that doesn't mean this chart isn't really helpful, I guess. But if you look at the table below, you can see views, the number of how long people are spending on the website in general, and where they are at within the website. So there is a lot of data that can be drawn from this. Let me go back to the overview.
Yeah, and Nadia, the 23rd, my assumption is that was just due to the snow day activity. So
Could be.
Yeah, so probably people looking to see, is there school or not? Is their first location?
Yeah, that was the Tuesday of the snow week, I think. So maybe people wondering if there was going to be school, or I don't know.
Absolutely. This is another interesting one too. It just says like country and city of where the top users are from. So this will automatically just pull the top, however many, like 6 or 7, maybe there's 10 here, I don't know. But of where there are, it's visually easy to see like where the views are. Obviously, it's what you'd expect, I would imagine. But again, there's different ways that you can look at data. This bottom table is also interesting too. Obviously, the home page is going to have the highest amount of results. That's like the landing page, but a lot of people are accessing school calendars right now. Just looking at the general documents section of the library, the live feed seems to be pretty popular. Employment opportunities, and the staff page as well. So I think that provides interesting context of what people are looking for when they come to our website. But again, I think as we utilize this more and more, we can try to get more information from it and how we look at this.
Yeah, and I think this makes sense, at least that bottom right corner in terms of school calendars being such a high hit. I mean, we just recently had approved the school calendar last month, and then also the changes to it because of the snow date would drive people to look to see, okay, well, what's the new last day of school type thing. So makes perfect sense. And this is for the last 28 days, so February 16th through March 15th. Are we able to see, like for specific pages, maybe trends just for those, like for example, I know we're going to talk about the school bus registration opening up. Like right now, that page probably has like little to no activity, but could we see over time just that page before, through, and after?
Yeah. Absolutely. It may be hard right now to go back in time. I think, looking at access for the last month, moving forward, it will be easier to kind of backtrack as my account kind of got settled. So as we, a suggestion that I have too is that we potentially just look at this pretty quickly each month and just understand a little bit, or each meeting, and we can provide a quick update on metrics. It's not a bad idea to keep using this tool. So I can move on from this and go over some other analytics if you're ready for that too.
Yeah, that works. I just wanted to ask, is the newsletter included in this at all?
So a newsletter is a document, and that's actually what I'm about to move into separately. So this will track website screens versus downloads. So I'm going to stop sharing that because that is one section. So again, we utilize the program ThrillShare for our website, and so I can tell you that for right now, looking at newsletters, March and February, I have information on, and it looks like about 1,000 views or visits is what it's categorized in the back of the system. 998 as of right now for the February 6th newsletter, and 1,029 visits for the March 5th. I'm going to come back to this because the next piece also kind of goes into it. So when we send it out through the district, through the system, the March 5th school committee newsletter update was emailed successfully to 6,715 email addresses. The link that was in the newsletter, anytime it is clicked from that, will populate from that 1,029 that I just mentioned. So if you include that link as how you share it versus having it as a PDF or an attachment, you'll be able to get better better numbers, because every time that link is pulled up, that will track that number. So in the email that was sent out, it was listed as a link. So anytime that link was clicked, it increased that visit by 1.
Does that account for duplicates, or is it just count 1 every time it's clicked, even if it's the same user?
It's just number of clicks, yeah. So it could be the same user or users. Yeah, it just means it was clicked on 1,029 times.
Okay.
We may be able to get to a point too where utilizing the traffic on the other website and kind of integrate that into how we're seeing it, but it is hard to, because where that link can be in multiple places, such as an email, such as posted online, it could be shared in a variety of ways. It may be hard to tell where where you're getting the most hits from, whether it's from an email, whether it's from people searching the website, a Facebook post, or something to that nature.
Yeah, and I think as long as we share the link, and that's where then people end up going, I think that's the raw number that we look at, and see how do we trend that, because I share it online, different places. I've seen it shared in Franklin Matters as well for the link. So I think the goal ultimately is, are people consuming the content, which is the end state.
Yeah, and actually I didn't get a chance to look at this just because when we were looking at that analytics, a lot of people are using that live feed. I believe you do put it on a live feed, but that may be a good suggestion for next time as well, because it seems like a lot of people are utilizing that live feed area based on the data we were just seeing.
Yep, yeah, and I believe it's posted there as well too. So at least
I figured
have to navigate all the different places. Okay, cool. So at least it's good that we're having these numbers, and we can look to see how things are progressing month over month. And is there anything else that we need to do differently if it's starting to dip?
Clarification question, if I may. If you shared the link to the PDF in both places, the email and then the live feed, theoretically, once they click on the link, that would still generate that other metric that you were talking about, Colin?
yes.
So 1,000 clicks on the link, or 1,200 or whatever?
Yeah, that figure is anytime somebody clicked that link, regardless of where it originated.
Right, so that's about 16% of the emails that were sent?
Sounds about right. But it doesn't mean that they strictly came from emails, though.
True.
And 30 more in a month. I don't know.
Well, that's a little misleading too.
Yeah.
So the tricky part is that anytime somebody updates a page, it resets it, and it looks like a bunch of these were either reposted or were posted or modified on March 5th. So that's where it gets a little misleading now. So like looking at like December, October, August, the views are really low, but looks like it was because either the link or the file was uploaded or updated somehow on March 5th by somebody.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you. Anything else on this one, or any questions, Nadia?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Colin, thank you for kind of dabbling in this space, and I think having this will be good going forward, just so we can get an understanding of how things are progressing.
Absolutely.
Assume that we'll, like the school year, things will dip because, school's coming to a close, people are looking for the summertime, and yeah, so I wouldn't worry if June is low, given that we're probably all like summer vacation can't be here soon enough. So cool. All right. So still no Stephen as of yet. So we'll skip the quarterly community engagement update for now. See if we can get him here. But let's talk about the senior center visit and the monthly Q&A session. So on Wednesday we have the monthly Q&A session. So Nadia, you are going to be attending that one. Is that correct?
Yes, I'll likely be zooming into that session. I've been in touch with Steve about the format, and he will be sort of recapping anything that's really been ongoing since the last meeting. And then they'll open it up to a Q&A. And I'll be there to answer any, school-related questions.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and both of these events is the first that we've, at least since I've been on the committee, have gone to one of these events. So it'll be good just to have that presence there, share any insights and any questions that they may have. I guess, Steve, since you're here, are there typically questions about the schools that are asked that aren't answered, or do they just, since there's no representation, they don't bring it up?
Generally, excuse me, depending upon the topic and the timing, clearly they're generally asked in the format, and I can share the full doc. I know I pre-shared the last month's updates, so Nadia at least had an idea of what the format was. But there's what I call a watch list, and clearly the budget is on that. So in February, as the discussions around the budget from the schools was put together, et cetera, there were questions around that. They were not the only questions, of course. Clearly, there are also housing issues, other things going on there as well. But it's good for me to find out what they're thinking, because clearly that, as we've talked, is a significant population. And we need to know what they're thinking and how we can give them the info appropriately. Most of the time, because of my participation, I feel comfortable with providing the answers, and I always refer to, the school sources of the data, and providing that so that I'm sharing with them, but then providing them the links to go back into the details. So, yes, it'll be helpful that if there's other nuances that come up, Nadia hopefully will be able to at least be aware of what those nuances are and potentially share her insights at least. And we've couched when other single members of council have been there, that clearly each of the individuals are not speaking for the body, but sharing their insights and views on the position and the subject matters at hand.
Cool, thank you. And then on Thursday, we do have the breakfast at the senior center as well. So that I'll be able to make that.
Which is interesting because it's not on the town calendar, at least as of this weekend.
Yeah, and I wasn't too sure if it was, because
it always has been. And I'm going to be at the senior center tomorrow, and that's one of the things I wanted to check. So I can certainly provide an update back to you, and certainly you can go through your channels as well. But normally it's there, and it's not this time. So I'm surprised.
Okay. And I guess, how does that one differ? Is it less formal, and it's just kind of...
Yeah. Very less formal. If you've ever been into the senior center, particularly into the lunch cafeteria area, kind of that big room is divided in half. So the second half, kind of with the stage side, is where this is, and the group usually gathers up in that stage arena. It's very informal, depends upon who's there. Usually there's one or two town councilors, Jamie or somebody from town generally was there. Rep Roy occasionally is there, or his representative. Sometimes there's other Norfolk County folks there. So people can come up. Generally, they're also either having coffee or breakfast at the same time, and it's a much more informal, relaxed discussion. Some people will come up and not necessarily stay there, but come in, ask a specific question, and leave, which is fine. Some people just stick around for the conversation, depending upon what's going on in this conversation on this end of the table or that end of the table.
Great, thanks. Yeah, no, looking forward to that as well. Once again, I think these are great opportunities for us to engage the community in some way. I mean, granted, they may not have children in the school, but they may have grandchildren, or they're just curious about what's going on. So it'll be a good way just to stay connected. And we'll see how we're doing at this time. As stated, Nadia's doing it. I'm going to be there, but we'll extend this off to other members and see, do we rotate the same people, or is it the same people? So we'll see what happens.
Mm-hmm. And then you have a separate one Thursday at Lincoln?
Yes, and that one is for Stephen. So Stephen's leading the community relations.
Oh, okay.
And since he's not here, we'll touch upon that as well. There's a book fair that's going on at the Lincoln Street Elementary, and Stephen's been working with Colin to secure a location so that we can just have some folks meet and greet. Nadia, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was Paul was going to be there as well with him.
I think Paul, possibly Reese, and Stephen are all going. I'm going to try to be there for the first half. I have a class that evening, but I'm going to try to make the first half as well. And that's as much as I know. I'm actually not sure if they decided on a location. Maybe Colin is aware. Okay.
Yeah. So he settled on like the 3 to 5 foyer area where families will be entering. So we'll get a table that's set up there. So as people enter, they'll at least see you. They could stop and say hi there, or on their way out, they could stop by and say something as well. So you'll get a good traffic flow through the event.
Yeah. He did mention to me though, it is posted on our website, and then also there'll be some social media posts that are going tomorrow just to drive awareness of this as well. So yeah, that's a good just kind of mix of different types of Franklin residents, and just kind of have them engaged in what we're doing and what's going on.
Yeah, and I have it on the community calendar, so we'll get a reminder on Thursday morning as well.
Cool. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate that. All right, so then moving on, strawberry stroll planning. So as you all, well, not all, but Nadia, you've received the save the date for the strawberry stroll. We do have it scheduled for June 12th as the scheduled date, with the 13th as the rain date. Just so that you know, historically, this what I've done is just sent out an invite for save the date for us to block it off. As we get closer, there'll be like a tracker where folks can sign up for, an hour or more, whatever they're able to do, and it could be, coming in to do setup, could be manning it during the event, or it could be post, whatever folks are done. But we divvy it up across the school committee members, and typically I would say it's probably 2 or 3 people there at a time, but we can have more. We'll post it so that there will be no concern about having more than 3. So this is really based on people's availability, but it's simply just engaging the public that's at Strawberry Stroll, answering any questions, providing any handouts, that sort of thing. So hopefully, weather's good. It was great last year. I think it was beautiful after the winter that we had last year. So it was I felt like everybody had come out to participate. Also, they had changed the layout from previous years, where before we had Main Street, and then it was behind the banks where the other groups were the last time it went across. So from where was it? It was not Hang Tai. The Chinese food place all the way through to the library is that the whole entire street. So I thought that was a great idea. I'm not too sure if they're still doing it that way, but we'll find out. I did renew our membership. So as our membership is part of Downtown Partnership, we're guaranteed a booth. So once the signups for the booths come up, I'll put us in there. So at least we have that reserved. I think really things that we need to start to think through as an organization or a subcommittee is what are the things that we want to distribute during the event. Previous years, it's been things that were, given the time frame of it, things that were timely. So for the past 2 years, it was about the override. The first override, it was before the override had happened. The year after, it was after the override vote, so it was a little different feel. We typically share stuff around the budget. We're in the throes of school bus registration, so we've shared things about that as well. Trying to think of what else we've shared. We've shared the calendar for the past 2-3 years. So that's something that I had started reaching out to Denise to see if the art teacher at the high school is interested and they have capacity to do that. So we'll see. What else did we give out, Colin? Anything they didn't say that's coming to mind?
No, nothing else. The big one that I can remember is the calendar. So calendars, yeah.
Yeah. But we're open to whatever. It's really nothing is truly off limits per se. It's just whatever we do. It's this committee that's putting it together. The central office staff may assist depending on what it was. So, like for example, some of the budget content, they help pull that together. Colin, you did the school bus flyer last time, at least one of them, and then we did another one of it. I'm trying to think. So, like, really, it's open to whatever we'd want to share. What do we think is timely?
When is registration opening again for transportation?
We haven't announced, but it's posted on our website as April 29th right now, but we'll start our communications in early April like last year. But we started getting some inquiries, so we picked a date and just put it on the website. So any questions about registration for this year or next year, they can just be referred to our website. It will start to update over the next couple of weeks.
And what's usually the deadline date, Colin?
Usually it's the last day of school.
Okay.
So yeah, we usually try to gather all the registrations between just after April break to the end of the school year. That gives an adequate amount of time for families to sign up, and then it gives us a good amount of time to consolidate the data and then spend a good month making the routes based on that information.
Yeah, I wonder if we could just even do like a QR code printout handout that people could just leave the Strawberry Stroll with, and like as a reminder, like go home and register.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, I think that would be a good idea, and just like a full court press on registration for buses, I think would be great. I'm just thinking of like the emails that we get where folks are just like, let's do something about the traffic pattern. But the things that people can do right now is if you're eligible for a free bus, let's try to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and obviously the sooner we know, like during registration, we can plan the appropriate number of buses, the appropriate routes. It gets really hard after we've designed an entire transportation system and then have to revamp it because a few hundred people decide they want to hop on.
Yeah. And Colin, I was thinking, like, that's something that we press on, and I don't know if we have pictures of like the traffic that's backed up and just kind of using this and like do you want to sit in this or not? Like kind of like give people something to think about and like, yeah, maybe I should try the bus this weekend.
I don't know.
I mean, we could make an advertisement that doesn't necessarily paint drop-off as such a bad thing, but could just be like, this is the typical wait which we already have that data from the beginning of the year that we can revamp that a little bit and just kind of put a spin on average wait time at the bus stop, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. But we're open for everything else. I mean, I think from a budget perspective, I think it's a we can continue sharing that. I think it's a good news story where we've come at that 2.5%. So just something to share and really emphasize the work that was done to get to where we're at. Nadia, I liked your question last month regarding like the redistricting, like what are the things that you'd like to see, what were the good that you saw, and I don't know if maybe there's like we give people an opportunity to like jot something down that we can collect, because I think it's easier to do that in person sometimes in the moment, and like versus seeing it and not really thinking about it and then you just forget. So
or like a questionnaire that people can fill out while they're there.
Yeah, like that's something, just put the answer and just drop it in the bucket, and then we can look at it after the fact.
Yeah. I don't know, I should know this, but I think it would also just be helpful in the newsletter. I know that we haven't quite hit it on the agenda yet, but I think including a question in the question of the month as to what people suggest that they would like asked and answered would just help, with our, to know what people in the community are thinking and want to know information out, or just to, inform us about. I know that I reached out to a few people to get ideas, and they sent some great ideas for me, and that's where those came out of. So just, I don't know that people will offer, but might as well try.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't hurt to ask.
Sure.
Cool. I guess any questions for you, Nadia, regarding Strawberry Stroll and what's been done in the past, or suggestions?
Nothing that comes to mind. I can mull over it a little bit more. But I think those are some great ideas. I mean, everyone needs a calendar. And, I think, again, with the transportation and the QR codes and just any information relative to the budget should be available at that time, especially. It'll be voted on that week.
Mm-hmm.
So they're also, this is totally up to you too, and probably worth talking to Lucas if you are interested. Al, we were in the conversations potentially about the athletic signage. Mm-hmm. There might be some opportunity to talk about some of the projects that are upcoming, relating to the district as well, such as that, or some of the other things that are kind of on the horizon.
Yeah, no, that's a good call out as well. Bringing any of the other work that's happening. So yeah. I think
the Horace Mann Legacy Committee, if there's any updates with that, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So those are good call outs. Last year, Nadia, we did have the PCCs provide us table signage to direct folks to the various PCC Facebook groups. So it was like a one sheet that had the QR codes for the different schools and whatnot. That was big because of, or at least that was done because of the shift of doing redistricting. But I think something along that lines as well. So if the PCCs want us to display anything, we're definitely open to doing so as well. Again.
Yeah, I can bring that up at the next meeting.
Cool. All right. Anything else about this? As crazy as it sounds, I mean, we're in March now, and we'll have 2 meetings, and then it's the Strawberry Stroll, so it's gonna come up fast. What we've done in the past is we tried to finalize all the content prior to the end of May. This allowed us to, make sure that we're good with it, get things printed out, secure any resources that if we need anything. So I think that practice probably still works. And it was really doing a lot of offline work, so folks had that were responsible for creating whatever, they would do it on their own. We have a share folder where everything would be put into, and then Denise would print it all out for us prior to the day or the Friday event. So either the day before or the day of the event, it'd be picked up. As we get closer, we'll talk through like logistics in terms of what we need. Typically, it's like a tent, tables, and chairs. So we'll coordinate like where we can get those from, who will do it, how they will get there, and that sort of thing. So, cool.
And just hope for no rain.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, we were lucky these past few years, and last year was amazing weather-wise. Like that was.
Yeah, it was a great day. I love that they extended it in front of the library, and you didn't feel so congested. And
yeah, and not being, because before, actually, in the Strawberry Store, we're always by like the post office, and the Harvest Fest were in the back, and just all in that one street, just nothing gets really lost. You know, it's like you can see it all the way down, and that was a really great approach. Cool. All right, moving on to the last item, the newsletter planning. So next newsletter is scheduled to go out, what was the date? April 2nd. And so far we've had a lights meeting so far. Nadia, thank you for signing up to talk about the food services presentation. And Colin, and that was a great presentation, and food was amazing, so great job.
Happy to.
And then, so we'll see what we have for our next meeting. So once that schedule is posted, we'll do the same thing as I'll list the different topics. We can figure out who wants to take what, and then go from there. Nadia, you mentioned the question. I think I added it to the last survey, but I'll add it in the note itself, letting folks know that there's like that question, so that at least they're not thinking, oh, it's only just this one thing. So
Either or, I'm fine. I feel like if anybody takes the time to actually click on it to answer the question, they're more likely to offer up a question.
Yeah.
So either way, but if you have any suggestions either for a question, just let me know and I can include it. Obviously you can, so.
Yep, cool. And then just thinking from a cadence perspective, it'll be April, May, and then the 1st in June, and then we'll take the summer break. So we got really three more to go this year.
I have one question. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your train of thought, but is Stephen putting together a flyer with links? I know we had an initial conversation about not the newsletter itself, but almost like a preview of the newsletter. What came out of that? Yeah.
I had sent him the newsletter in advance, or at least the section, so he could start. It didn't happen this time. I had to connect with him to find out what's, is that something that he has capacity for. I think he might be busy work-wise, that's why he's not here today.
Okay, yeah, just checking.
Yeah, but I think that would be a nice thing to add. Now that we're in a few months in, any suggestions, anything you think we should change or do differently?
I don't think so. I think we can revisit that legislative forum possibly in the fall, just with all of the ballot questions and such. But I think we're good for now.
Yeah. One thing I want to do, and I saw something online, I gotta see the validity of it, but it was regarding the Department of Education, but more so for like the special education portion of it. I saw something that there was significant reductions on that one, so I think maybe partnering with Paula to get something in about special education, if what I saw was in fact accurate. Just driving more awareness around that and what what could be done, because I could feel that if there are reductions there, there's probably a lot of questions for families that use these services. So.
Yeah, and I think Wednesday night's presentation might offer some additional information that might need to be included in the next newsletter, aside from our school committee meeting. So you can always incorporate that.
Yep, yeah, and that's a good call out. So it'll be interesting to see, and I'm looking forward to the narrative being focused on Franklin, so that at least it then resonates with the population versus these are just numbers of any Massachusetts town. No, it's us. So cool. Anything else, folks?
There were no other responses from the last newsletter, correct?
I hadn't checked. Let me go take a quick look.
And you don't need to answer me right now. I'm just curious.
Actually, now you made me curious. I had way too many Google Forms. I don't think so, because I have it set so that when there's a response, I get an immediate email, and I don't recall seeing anything. Yeah, there, had it then.
Okay.
Cool. All right. Any last words before we close? All right. Since it's just the two of us, the official members of the vote, we'll just close the meeting at 7:12, and I'll send out some notes, and we will talk. Or see you on Wednesday.
Sounds good.
Have a good night, folks.
Everyone.
Thanks. We are now producing this in collaboration with Franklin TV and Franklin Public Radio. This podcast is my public service effort for Franklin, but we can't do it alone. We can always use your help. How can you help? If you can use the information that you find here, please tell your friends and neighbors. If you don't like something here, please let me know. Through this feedback loop, we can continue to make improvements. And I thank you for listening. For additional information, please visit franklinmatters.org. If you have questions or comments, you can reach me directly at SchCmte@gmail.com. The music for the intro and exit was provided by Michael Clark and the group East of Shirley. The piece is titled Ernesto Mañana, copyright Michael Clark and Tintype Tunes in 2008, and used with their permission. I hope you enjoy. By the way, you can also subscribe and listen to Franklin Matters Radio on your favorite podcast app. Search in podcasts for Franklin Matters.